Hello one and all, my name is Ryan Brees, my friends call me Fluff, and today on Riffs, Beards, and Gear, we build an in-ear rig for the used. All right, so I am here at the Vibratorium, home of Mr. Joey Bradford from the used. Say hello, Joey.
Hi, Joey.
And I was asked to create and build an in-ear rig that has some specific requirements for Joey's band, The Used, friends of mine, and they wanted an in-ear rig not for the live stage, but for the green room, for the practice rig. Yes, they want an in-ear rig to run the set and kind of rehearse in the dressing room while still being able to hear everyone and dial in their own individual mixes and use E-drums and really have a full practice before they actually go and play the show. That creates some unique challenges, and that also means that we kind of had to think a little outside the box, just a little bit, in order to meet everyone's needs. And yeah, here's what I came up with. Let's go over the rig. So the first thing that we decided to go with was a Behringer system. Now, I chose the X32 because A, it's the industry standard, so any of their front of house guys that are gonna come in and need to run this thing are gonna instantly be familiar with it, A. B, the Behringer also has the power play system for personal mixers, so you guys can just dial in whatever you want, and you don't necessarily have to have your own monitor guy in order to do your own mixes. We're gonna put the power play system to work with the X32, and that also means I can connect to the power play system using just a single Ethernet cable. I love that because that just makes everything nice and clean and tidy in the back. So once the signal goes to the power play and they have dialed in their mixes, the signals will basically leave the line outs stereo and go into the Sennheiser G4s. Now the G4s can be used with wired headphones from the front if they'd like, or they can use them how they're meant to be used with the wireless in-ear body packs as well. So they'll have some choices depending on what they want to use. And then really, that's the entirety of the signal chain. There is also a Focusrite interface for running click and tracks and things like that. If they want to use their actual session, their live rig computer, plug and play into this system, that will work as well. And yeah, we have the combiner to power the G4s, and that is literally the rig. So right now, here you go. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna go build this thing.
Let's build.
All right, fast forward a couple of hours-ish, and we have the rack more or less put together how we want it. Let me take you through it. So first at the very top, we have the X32 rack. We have the Blackline PG XLM power conditioner. We have the Focusrite 8i6. We chose this one specifically because it fits so perfectly in this rack. We have the combiner, which is powering the 4G4 Sennheiser in-ear wireless units. We have the first drawer with 3 PowerPlay 16s personal mixers. We have the second drawer with Joey's rig, which is basically a quad Cortex and a PowerPlay 16. And then we have a drawer for packs. And that's it. The signal flow is very, very simple on this rig. We take the inputs, we come into the X32, we come out of the X32 via Ethernet into everybody's personal mixers, and then out of the individual personal mixer into the corresponding G4 wireless unit. And that is literally it. Clean, concise. And if we want, we have a couple of spare XLRs to plug into, you know, a bass amp or a guest vocalist or something like that. So there is some expandability as far as the inputs and outputs. But, you know, for the day-to-day stuff, the users are basically going to just be rolling this into their green room and turning it on and using it to rehearse. So we don't have everything quite dialed in yet. They need to dial it in once they get the band in, you know, the first show, but they're about to head out on tour. So I'm going to fast forward in time and I'm going to go meet them at a show. Let's do it.
4 to 6 more days later.
All right, so through the magic of post-production editing, I am now in Seattle. The Used have been on tour for several weeks, and we are going to go inside the Showbox Soto, and we're going to say hello, and we're going to go over the rig as it is right now with the guys. Let's go. All right, so welcome to, this is basically your room, Mr.
This is my room today.
Yeah, they own this room for the next several hours. This is the rehearsal room. This is where you guys come to jam at this particular venue.
That's right.
And you guys warm up about an hour before the show.
We run our whole set, start to finish, before we go on stage.
Yes. Okay, so the one thing you guys did not see during the initial build up the rack was Dan's MIDI kit. Now, Dan's MIDI kit is a Roland kit. He has kind of put together his own configuration as one does to basically match his actual live drum kit.
Yep.
Right? So he loads his own samples and he has basically the module spitting out a left-right stereo connection. And that is then going to the in-ear rig that Joseph and I built at his home studio. So I've been cutting the whole time to footage of the band jamming and actually using the rig and actually rehearsing. This is basically the ridiculously cool in-ear rig for practice, for the Used, that they use every day. It's hilarious. So a lot of you may be wondering, why do you need this kind of rig to rehearse and just run your set before you actually run the set? Well, often in a venue like this, and a lot of these old venues, when the opening bands are actually playing the actual show, a lot of that sound gets pretty nuts depending on the venue.
Yeah, a lot of times the stages are right underneath where our dressing rooms are, so we can't hear ourselves through traditional amps and that kind of thing. So this has been a huge help.
Yeah, so typically in an ideal situation, you would actually have, you know, a PA speaker blasting, and you'd be able to get loud, but more often than not, you guys are unable to get loud because there's already much louder stuff around you.
Correct.
In your system, boom, and also that is going to give you the sound and feel of what you actually have on stage as well.
Yep.
So the added benefit to being a pro touring, really popular band is you get an in-ear system for practice.
That runs our show almost identical to how it is when we walk on stage, which was a big point in getting this whole thing dialed in. Thank you.
Right, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And that's about it. That is the Used in-ear rig for their rehearsal and practice. And if you guys have any questions, leave them down below in the comments. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for letting me build you an in-ear rig, man.
I appreciate it.
All right. And lastly, shout out to Sweetwater for sponsoring this ridiculous video idea that I have for all of your in-ear needs or otherwise guitar, bass, V-drums. Head on over to sweetwater.com, link down below in the description. And with that, you guys have been wonderful. I've been Fluff. They have been the Used. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.